Joining me now is Democratic Georgia State Representative LaDon Jones. Representative Jones, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Liz.
All right, Representative Jones, I'm going to get right to the point here. Why does Planned Parenthood need our funding? They had an excess in 2013, in fiscal year 2013, of over $127 million. They separately spend tens or $20 million from their action fund to back politicians here. They throw galas all the time. They're not hurting for money here. Why do they need our tax money?
Well, what we have to understand is that Planned Parenthood does things other than abortion as well. They help to prevent a lot of diseases. They make sure they give educational opportunities to women and men all over the country. And for those who are concerned about what happens when someone decides to abort an unwanted pregnancy, imagine the number of pregnancies that would occur but for Planned Parenthood being able to educate young women and men about their bodies and life and how life is started.
Right, but I think that's almost a separate issue here. The fact of the matter is abortion's morally objectionable to a good percentage, perhaps even a majority of Americans here. Do you really think it's fair that our tax money go to a business, a private business that does a good bulk of their business, something that we consider morally objectionable?
Well, we have to remember the Supreme Court decided this decision for Americans a long time ago. There are a lot of Americans who find our president-elect morally reprehensible, but we have to deal with him, and he's going to get some of our federal dollars. We have to know that in this country, when the Supreme Court makes a decision that abortion is legal, it is perfectly appropriate for Congress to ensure that anything that has been supported by the Supreme Court is funded to protect Americans.
So something that you find morally objectionable should be funded just because a majority of the people, I don't understand that logic here, because the American people elected Donald Trump, whether or not they agree with his policies. The American people did not vote to fund Planned Parenthood. They did not vote to legalize abortion. Exactly what you said. It was decided by judges on the Supreme Court, unelected judges.
Well, and you know what? We really don't know what would happen if people did get the opportunity to vote for or against Planned Parenthood. Our Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, has rejected people who tried to come and tell them their position, their side of the American story of why Planned Parenthood is important. Here in Georgia, we spend some of our tax dollars on building new stadiums and things of that sort. I find that morally objectionable. But at the end of the day, I understand how our government process works. And although I may not agree, there are others who do. And we should not punish.
No, and I don't think it's punishing. I understand what you're saying here, but as someone who serves in government yourself, you know the importance of rooting out corruption here. You know the importance of part of your job is to enforce the law, to make sure that the law is followed here. Planned Parenthood is under federal investigation. As their organization has been referred by Congress for criminal prosecution for the illegal sale and profit of aborted baby body parts. I mean, certainly while an organization is under federal investigation like this, shouldn't these funds be frozen so that our tax money, yours and mine, aren't going to something that's against the law?
Absolutely not, because in our justice system, you are innocent until proven guilty. So they can be investigated all they want. But until there is some proof, some actual hard level proof, I don't think that that's a decision that Congress can make. And let's be honest about this. This isn't just about federal funding. This is called retribution. This is called get back. This is called we don't like Obamacare. We believe that our moral high ground is higher than yours, and we get to tell you and decide what you would do with your lives. But at the same time, we do not want to help give you the resources like Planned Parenthood so that you can make better decisions and not even have to question the issue of whether you have an unplanned parent.
No, and this is the talking point that I heard. This is the talking point that I heard yesterday from Planned Parenthood. After Speaker Ryan announced that this would be part of the Obamacare repeal bill, they came out and said, this is political, this is just revenge, but it's not. The intent is not revenge. The intent is to save the lives of the 323,999 babies who were aborted by Planned Parenthood. You talk about their other services. That is not the bulk of their business. Most of their revenue, most of their profits comes from abortion. 323,000 abortions. I mean, I ask you to look at this from the perspective of somebody who believes that life begins at conception, believes that abortion is morally wrong, yet my tax money is being used to fund this business whose primary goal is to push abortion.
Well, let's be clear. Planned Parenthood reports that only 3% of their business work is related to abortions.
No,
And
that's a
so we
misnomer.
can't.
That's a misnomer that I want to clear up right now. They say 3% of their services, and this is an accounting. It's accounting trick, if you will, that they use to make it seem like a very small percentage of what they do is abortion, when in reality, if a woman walks into a Planned Parenthood clinic for an abortion, every single thing that they do for her there counts as a singular independent service. The pregnancy test counts as one. The exam counts as one. The abortion counts as one. Whatever else they do, I believe the number is something like 13 services go into having an abortion. So they make it seem like only 3% of what they do, when in reality that's not true.
Well, that's how the medical field calculates things, when that's certainly how it shows up on your bill when you go to visit your OBGYN. Now, listen, I personally do not agree with abortion in my personal life, but here's what I understand. The reason why people believe that abortion is immoral is based on their personal religious beliefs. And
No, not necessarily, partially, but also scientifically. Scientifically, DNA is created from the moment of conception. It is unique. There is no other moment within pregnancy that there could be that changing moment, that quickening moment, they used to call it, that changes an unborn baby from being not a baby without rights to a baby except conception.
Yes, but it is your religion that tells you that the science, once that science occurs, is not okay for someone to make whatever decision they have. And the reality is that you are passing judgment on Planned Parenthood when in fact they could not provide services unless people were requesting these services. So you take Planned Parenthood away, and then what? And then what exactly do these people do? So instead
Oh
of
no, I'll tell you what they do,
moral
because this is another talking point. This is another talking point used all the time, that women would have no other place to go if there was no Planned Parenthood, and that is not true. There, for every Planned Parenthood clinic across America, there are 10 community health centers that provide the same sort of counseling, birth control, STD, pregnancy tests, women's health services, a platter of women's health services, minus abortion, of course, that they could go to. And the thing is, Planned Parenthood is not free. Many of these federally qualified community health clinics are free. There are plenty of other options. It's just a misnomer used by the left because they want to support abortion. They want our money to be used to support that.
No, what it is that you're trying to determine what someone else should do with their life and their body. Go to another community center where you can do everything other than have an abortion. They're having an abortion not because Planned Parenthood is forcing it, because someone has made a very difficult decision for their life. And you are making your own personal judgment and deciding that your personal beliefs and your life should determine what should happen. And
No,
that is why it is
I don't think that's true. That's the basis of our law, of our system of law and order. We do that all the time. The fact that you can't go out and steal something, the fact that I can't go out and assault someone or punch someone in the face is essentially the government telling us what we can or cannot do based off of the morality of it, based off of the fact that we'd be violating someone else's rights if we committed those actions. That's the same thing as an abortion. It's violating the right of the unborn baby. If life begins at conception, which scientifically there is no proof that it does not, it's violating the right of that person.
But if you're going to use the justice system to determine the examples that you use, taking from someone else, stealing or murdering someone else, those are all things that is done to another person. Okay. At this time, what we're discussing is the long time debate on whether or not a child is conception. And at the end of the day,
no, I want to ask you, do you not believe, when do you believe a person becomes a person? Is an unborn baby not a person?
I believe a person becomes a person when you're holding them in your arms and that they can cry for you, ask for you, and want for you, when they can make those decisions. And I would dare.
So until they ask for you. So you think that a person doesn't have any rights until they're 1 year old and they can talk? What if someone can never talk?
Well, no.
Do they never have rights?
You know, I find it real interesting that all of these debates about when someone's life is, yet no one is running out and filling up all of these foster care children and these children that are in shelters and don't have love. No one's pulling them in their homes. They're still sitting there waiting for love. If we would stop this time.
No, that's another topic, and I'd like to talk about that with you on a different day, but it's a pivot from this topic. It's a pivot from this topic, and I think you said very clearly you don't think a person is a person with rights until they can say what they want to say, until they can ask for help. Representative Jones, I do appreciate these debates with you. They're telling me in my ear that we're out of time. I have to go, but thanks for being here.